Hi, this is Andrew Wiebe, and this is the first ever DAW Universal Update, number 1 for November 8th, 2011. DAW, of course, is me, Andrew Wiebe, and I just got back from Portland on Monday morning. That would be yesterday at about 9 a.m., and I was at a conference over the course of the weekend, and it was quite inspiring, and it was awesome. And of course, it meant very little sleep because we drove down to Portland and back, which is a roughly 12 to 14 hour endeavor, one way trip if you are driving from Calgary to Portland. So I am totally excited and stoked and happy right now, but if I sound tired, the reason is because of the long trip that I just endured. Now, of course, as I mentioned, this is the first ever DAW Universal Update, or DAW Universal Update, and it is going to be unedited and uncut. So if you hear me say or take a breath or take a sip of water, that is why. Usually that stuff would be edited out in the podcast, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And so even if I lose myself in thought and I'm silent for a second or two, we're going to keep on trucking along and moving along with this update. So the idea with the DAW Universal Update is just to let you know what is going on in my life, in the various projects and endeavors and everything that I'm involved in. And normally I would just do an update for one site or the other, like a blog post. But, the reason why I'm doing something like this, there's a chance I might get tired of doing blog posts. No, not really, but there might be times where I'm too busy to do blog posts for all of my sites, which is kind of what I've been up to recently. So through an update like this, I can kind of quickly convey some of the information, some of the stuff that I'm up to if you want to check it out, and we can move on and get it out of the way. So I am currently recording actually with my digital recorder, and normally I'd be recording either with my studio or my mobile studio setup, which I've been working on getting set up. But I'm going to tell you why a little bit later on. We'll get to that in a second. First thing that I'll update you with, of course, is daw-music.com/my podcast. So in other words, I'm basically updating you with my music career info, as well as upcoming interviews and other things with the podcast show. First thing I want to talk about, of course, is the blog. Both sites have separate blogs. I'm not sure if you know that or if you noticed that, but daw-music.com and the podcast blog have separate blogs that are updated with different information. Yes, sometimes I do like to forward on the same information, but a lot of the time, actually, you will find different posts, different entries related to different subjects. So I'd encourage you to check that out. And blogs are currently updated about 4 to 5 times a week. Yes. So generally they are updated every day except for Saturday and Sunday on the weekend. Current daw-music.com discussions, basically that is my own daily blog where I talk about any randomness that happens in my life, but mostly recently I've been talking about work ethic and success related posts, which, I don't know, I don't necessarily consider myself the most successful person in the world at present, but I do get a lot of information from people who are, like at this weekend conference, for example, or any of the other audios I listen to. Generally, I'm listening to millionaires. I don't spend a lot of time listening to people who don't necessarily have the success that I want. So if they don't have what I want, I'm not necessarily going to listen to them. But if they are millionaires or if they have some kind of success that I want, then absolutely. And so the stuff that I pass down from there is generally from people who are successful, if that makes any sense. Obviously, everybody has different filters and their perception of these kinds of things. It's going to change. So, you need to get it. It's important to get it at the source, but, it's something fun for me to do. I like to talk about personal development. It's something I work on, and I like to talk about success and work ethic and all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's there. So don't think that I'm trying to claim to be an expert in this field necessarily. And the current discussion on the podcast blog is the 20 things you must know about music online. Now, if you haven't read this and you're a musician, you don't call yourself a musician. I'm just kidding. But really, you should take a look at this. It was written by Andrew Wiebe. And Andrew Wiebe runs a site called New Music Strategies. I don't think he personally updates that website as much anymore. He has a team that works for him. But it was all about, the not the collapse of the industry, but the new way in which the industry is operating, and he talks about the new media and all the tools, online tools available to musicians and things of that nature. So if you want to kind of learn more about that and the 20 things you must know about music online, I'm kind of just breaking it down. I'm not really repeating what he's saying in that free ebook. And if I didn't mention already, yes, it's a free ebook that can be downloaded at newmusicstrategies.com. I'm just kind of breaking it down and giving my own opinion and giving my own insight into the subjects he talks about. And of course, there are some upcoming podcast episodes. There's a reason why these haven't been getting out yet, but there are some exciting ones coming up. So I'm going to touch on why these podcast episodes haven't come out yet in a second. That's still coming. But the upcoming podcast episodes, there's a couple of really exciting things. First is a episode on music instruction. So it's something I do and Patrick Zielinski does day-to-day. Patrick being a good friend of mine and also runs his own music business and is also plays in my band. And if you want to check him out, overturemusic.ca, definitely recommend checking that out if you're in the Calgary area. And he does have some music of his own, which you may also want to check out, the band that he plays with, the Active Light. And when him and I get together, it's something called Shoestring Fusion. We kind of have a side project that where we write some really bizarre progressive acoustic. I mean, there's no limits to it, but just a variety of different styles of music. The other episode is with someone that some people consider him the most important man in the Christian music industry. And that's all I'm going to say about it, but it's up and coming. So we're going to get that up and going as soon as possible. Also, I've been talking a lot about the podcast, but over at daw-music.com, my primary music site, there is a members area that's coming, and you'll notice that in the menu and the link on the right side, there's something that's labeled members. That's how you get to the members area. Only problem is there's nothing there yet. And I think I've talked about this a little bit on the podcast and stuff already. Basically, there's going to be a ton of bonus content available. Live recordings, live shows, videos, tickets, early ticket sales, discounts on merchandise and CDs, and all kinds of bonus content, podcasts, extras, and stuff like that. So that's on its way, and it's going to be up and running down the line, but I can't say exactly when. Now I'd like to switch the conversation over to Red Flame. And you may or may not have noticed that on daw-music.com, I've got a link over to Red Flame. And Red Flame being my business, I became the sole proprietor last summer. So it's been kind of running over a year, and I've rebranded and kind of changed and worked on things a little bit. And so the site is up and running again, and it looks a lot better. Same as daw-music.com, as well as the podcast blog. The Red Flame blog also gets updated 4 to 5 times a week, and again with different information. I'm currently working out a system for the posts. So in other words, what I'm going to post about on a regular basis, I'm kind of working on that side of things. But generally what I post about is related to the services that I offer through Red Flame. So that would include things like music lessons or audio production. And those would be kind of the primary things. There's a chance I might touch on web design and graphic design as well, because it's also something that I kind of do on the side. But generally it's music and audio production related. Now, here is the reason why I haven't been able to record from the primary studio, and that's because I have a broken FireWire interface. That's my Mackie Onyx 400F. Now, I brought it down to the local Long McQuaid and said, hey, this doesn't seem to be working. The only light that turns on is the 48V phantom power, and I know people that have experienced this phenomena and this problem before. Is there anything you can do for me? So they gave me a couple of numbers, and actually ended up calling up a gentleman on the spot called Frank, and I went down and chatted with him, and he said, "Yeah, I can take a look at this, but if the power supply is the issue, which is kind of what he suspected, he says if the power supply is the issue, then they're wired and made up just as complex as any other part in the unit nowadays. Power supplies used to be very simple, but apparently not so much these days." So the unit sat with him for a week or two, and I just decided to give him a call and see what's going on, because I wasn't hearing from him. And he said, "Oh, I lost your number. I thought I had the right number, but I just got some of the numbers out of order." And so he couldn't actually contact me while I was waiting to hear from him. So it was a good thing that I called him up, and he said, "Actually, I found out the very next day, he brought the unit to me, that there is the problem is the main FireWire port, and the FireWire card in the unit is broken." So I found a company down the States that still has this part, and apparently it's about the only place that they have, and the place called SNX Audio, I believe. So I've been in touch with those guys to get the FireWire card shipped up, so I can get that replaced and trade it out and get the unit up and working again. The Mackie Onyx 400F unit is actually really good, has served me really well. Us, I should say, because we've been working at the studio here, but probably for, I want to say 2-3 years, but possibly 4 years, it was operational, and it worked really well for our needs. So hoping to get it replaced, and if something doesn't go wrong there, I'm gonna have to possibly pick up a new unit to replace the Mackie, so I can get the studio up and running again, which, it is kind of one of the main services I offer with Red Flame, so it's kind of important. But I'm going to get that situation sorted. So that is the reason why new podcast episodes have not come out in a little while. Usually I would have had an October episode posted long since, but that would be my main reason why it hasn't been up and going. So looking at getting that up and running here very, very shortly. Now, the current discussion on the Red Flame blog has mostly been hardware related, because I've gone through various hardware modules for mobile recording, because I've been getting my mobile recording set up and going recently, and I was having some issues with the Fast Track Ultra. Got some popping and crackling noise, which apparently is not a big deal, in the sense that it's generally the Wi-Fi card interfering. So if you turn your Wi-Fi card off, apparently you can get that issue sorted. So that, I hadn't actually had a chance to try that with the Fast Track Ultra with the M Audio device, but that wasn't the only issue I was experiencing. I was actually having a hard time getting inputs besides 1 and 2 working as well. And so after a couple of days of using the unit and just not finding any solutions, I went and returned it, and so now I have a Motu interface that I'm working with, and I've been working at getting that set up today. Now, that also hasn't exactly been quite as straightforward as expected, but I did eventually get it up and working, and then kind of noticed that I was getting the same popping and crackling noises that I was with the Fast Track Ultra. So, but I haven't noticed that any of the ins or the outs don't work, which is a good thing. So I'm going to work on getting that figured out, and going to try turning the Wi-Fi card off of my laptop and see if that fixes the crackling, the constant crackling and popping that seems to exist for some reason with these mobile recording devices. And of course, with Red Flame, there are always events happening, various workshops, parties, etc., recitals, that kind of thing. The current one is Christmas recording, and all this is just a chance to, offer my students or my clients an opportunity to record a Christmas song, so they can kind of gift that to somebody in their family or a friend, and just to create some memories. So if you are interested in checking out that, you may want to go to redflamerecords.com and just check out the latest event, which is the Christmas recording, and there's a PDF kind of detailing a little more information about this particular recording event. So I definitely look forward to helping people out with that. And Red Flame will soon have new graphics up on the website, And I've been working with somebody I've known for a few years, and he's a great guy. His name's Ben Nyman. He's a terrific graphic designer, and he's actually been putting together some of the graphics for me and looking at getting my business cards done here soon as well. So shout out goes to Ben Nyman for his help, and you'll be seeing that on the Red Flame website very, very soon. So the blog or the website itself will start looking even better than it already does. Finally, with Red Flame, I am looking at hiring a qualified music instructor. So some of the qualifications I'm looking for is, it's hard to say exactly how many years of guitar experience because it really depends on the person, how much time and effort they've actually put in. You could say you played for 10 years and not have gotten anywhere, and you could say you would play 5 years and actually be really good. So, but I'm going to say at least 6 to 8 years of guitar experience. So hopefully you're intermediate or above as a player. You don't necessarily have to have had teaching experience, music instruction experience, but that is preferred. You also should have at least 2 to 5 years of piano experience. So you can also teach piano lessons, and it would be with beginners, so you wouldn't have to know anything terribly crazy, but you should at least feel somewhat comfortable on a piano or a keyboard. And I probably would have a full schedule for a music instructor, but that's not all. There are more opportunities that I can certainly offer to anybody that comes on board with Red Flame. And so just keep that in mind too as you're thinking about this, and if you're listening to this going, I do have some of that experience and I have those qualifications. Would I want to do this, and can you get me like a full-time schedule? And the answer is yes, I can get you a relatively full-time schedule, but even if your schedule's not full, I can offer other opportunities, especially I know that's a big thing over the summer where teaching kind of tends to slow down in a big way, and so having other work to do and other opportunities is a plus. So do contact me, Wiebe, Wiebe, at redflamerecords.com if you think you are qualified for this position. Again, I'm looking for somebody who's professional and someone who's coachable and teachable. You have to be coachable. That's non-negotiable. And I will personally mentor you and sit down with you if necessary to kind of show you what I know about music and about these instruments and about teaching in general and some of the methods that have worked for me. Doesn't mean that you have to adopt every method that I used or every skill that I've developed, but definitely means that you're open-minded, you're teachable, you're gonna take some of the advice and see how it works for you, because you would be taking care of my client base. So do contact me and let me know if you're thinking about it. Another thing is Arctic Sunburn. Now I know this thing has been on the back burner, but guess what? Just like the other blogs that I've just talked about, it actually does get updated 4 to 5 times a week now. And it is my video game and movie blog, in case you are still wondering what exactly Arctic Sunburn is. I know that's an odd sounding name, but that's what it is. And one of the current discussions, of course, is video game music. I've talked at length about this already in various podcasts and whatnot, but video game music is pretty awesome. I love it. I love a lot of the early stuff that they did with chiptunes and 8-bit and 16-bit and all that kind of stuff. Early video game music is definitely awesome. Now, I can't promise any huge posts. I know I've done some relatively in-depth ones recently, but with Arctic Sunburn, and generally that goes for all sites. I might be able to do 1 or 2 kind of in-depth posts, and the other ones end up kind of being quick ones, but. So there may not be a lot of in-depth posts with Arctic Sunburn, and there may not be a lot of videos either, even though that's something I like to do and was certainly looking forward to do more of with Arctic Sunburn. That is probably still on the back burner, but just know that the blog itself does get updated and will get updated on a regular basis, and there are some people that are interested in posting on the blog as well, so I'm looking at mentoring them and getting them up and running so we can get more perspectives and more posts up and going on Arctic Sunburn, and so that's pretty exciting as well. And finally, there is plenty more on the way. There's some other exciting news that I can't really talk about right now. There's a couple of projects I'm involved in. I'm not going to go into much detail, but there will be new stuff down the line. Trust me, there will. And definitely expect improvements to the functionality of all sites and all blogs. That may not be immediate. Again, it's something I chip away at a little bit every day. This is not like, I'm not going to give up my entire day or all my time to working on all these things, even the things that I've already mentioned to you. I'm not, I don't give up all my time to working at them all the time, but I do a little bit here and there, maybe 20 minutes to an hour a day, just working on these things and keeping things updated. So that's where everything's at for today's DAW Universal Update. Definitely feels like there should be some music running behind this, but there's no time. So thanks for joining me. Look forward to getting in touch with you again. If you personally know me, or if even if you don't, send me an email, shoot me a text, give me a call. I'll be happy to sit down and chat with you about all the exciting stuff that is going on in my life. So look forward to you tuning in to the next podcast episode. Thanks a lot. Bye.